So this is going to be the final Icast 2024 coverage video, and basically I'm just going to show you guys all the brand new reel releases that I found interesting. And we're going to start off with a bait finesse reel that I missed, and this was pointed out to me by a subscriber, and let's check it out right now. Now you'll never guess who this is from. It is actually a reel from the LEWS offshoot brand called Mach. And here it is right here, the Mach 1 SS Gen 3 casting reels. And I overlooked it because these two reels right here look exactly the same. But if you take a peek at the SS, I guess that stands for shallow spool, you'll see that it indeed does have a shallow spool. Now it's not the shallowest spool out there, but it's definitely shallow enough to be considered bait finesse, and you can see that it's ported pretty good. And there's a side view. Now obviously with these colors of white side plates, gray silver frame, and this bright neon green, the Mach series is obviously targeting younger bass fishermen. And the good news about this reel is that in the grand scheme of bait finesse, it is relatively budget friendly, coming in at $129.99. I think the only official US market bait finesse reel that's cheaper might be that KASTKING Valiant Eagle. But let's read more about this reel. It says, whether you're skipping light baits under docks or launching micro BFS lures across the lake, the Mach 1 SS Gen 3 casting reels offer outstanding bang for your buck, blah blah blah. Externally adjustable multi-break setting, 95mm handle, typical LEWS combat grip, 8 bearing system, graphite frame and side plates. Spool is 32mm, and pretty basic stuff. Probably going to be a MagTrack style brake system, and you can see the line capacity is a little bit more than a traditional BFS reel. It says 8 pounds, it will hold about 80 yards. Now usually in today's current BFS reel market, you're looking at about 45 to 50 yards of 8 pounds, so it does hold significantly more line if you need that. But yeah, of course, available in left and right hand. Wow, pre-order with an estimate arrival date of November 21st. That's still quite a long ways away. But yep, we got another domestic bait finesse option in the Mach 1 SS Gen 3 casting reel. So now let's get to the other reels. Now the biggest reel release at this year's Icast was somewhat of a shocker to me, and it was a shock because Shimano has come out with a new updated Vanford. Now either time is just flying by because I'm getting old, but didn't the original Vanford come out just like 2 years ago and they're already coming out with a new model? Maybe it was longer than that, but needless to say, I was surprised that a new Vanford came out, and let's take a look at it. So we're gonna skim through this little promo video that Shimano came out with. And taking a look at the reel, it's definitely got a more, I guess, mature styling. It's not as much red. Now, while this video is playing, I'm gonna explain what the Vanford is to anyone who's kind of new to my channel. Now, way back in 2012, Shimano created an entire new class of spinning reels called the Quick Response class. Basically, that means the reels were going to be lightweight, but more importantly, they're going to have a very lightweight rotor that had a very easy startup as well as stopping, as he's showing you right here. And this was created to give more precise control over finesse baits. Now I used to think, you know, this was just marketing hype, until recently I just bought a 500 size Shimano Sienna, and you would think that that reel, being as tiny as it is, would have a really easy low inertia startup when cranking the handle as well as stopping. But no, that reel takes a little bit of effort to get the rotor turning as well as stopping it. And right here they're showing you the difference between the Vanford and the STRADIC. And they're showing you some improvements. You can see that the Vanford rotor is a whopping 19 grams lighter. That's about 3/4 of an ounce. The reel is over an ounce and a half lighter overall. This is showing you what quick startup and quick stopping of the rotor actually does. So the Vanford starts up quicker but stops quicker as well, while the STRADIC, with its heavier rotor and more inertia, keeps on going. And you can see that the lure for the STRADIC went farther, so you basically have less control. Now I can appreciate this because I like to twitch, you know, trout magnets and crappie magnets and whatnot, and I don't want my lure going too far every time I crank that handle. But of course I use bait finesse. So right there is the pinnacle of the quick response series, the Vanquish. But with the Vanford, this new model, they've trickled down a few top of the line technologies coming from the top of the line STELLA reel. Now the STELLA is one of the reels in what they call the solid class. So it's going to be reels like the Twin Power and whatnot, while the Vanford and Vanquish and some other reels, I think like the EXSENCE, may be considered the quick response class. You can see it's on the new Poison ADRENA right here. Infinity drive is one of the features that's coming down from the STELLA, where I guess the shaft goes right through the pinion gear. Anti-twist fin is another technology coming from the STELLA. Now the STELLA is several times more expensive than the Vanford. Let's not forget that. I think like 3 times as much money. But that fin is supposed to help with, I guess, line management and line twist. And I think it's getting the gearing from the STELLA as well. So yeah, definitely a more mature looking reel versus the original Vanford, first gen Vanford. And yeah, let's talk more about it. So of course, to get the most complete information on the Vanford, we got to go to Shimano Japan's website. And let's take a look here. I'm sure Shimano Japan is going to offer far more sizes of the Vanford than Shimano America, including shallow spool versions. But where are the new technologies? Like the MGL rotor, which is also asymmetrical. See, that's the thing about the quick response spinning reels from Shimano. It's got the low inertia rotor that you can literally, I guess, spin the handle with a finger. It says the Magnum Light rotor in the Vanford versus the 23 STRADIC. The Vanford rotor has 39% lower inertia. Okay. Of course, the Vanford is made of CI4 plus fancy graphite. All right, so infinity cross gears, infinity drive, and I think that's the super slow oscillation where the line lay on the spool is very even and very slow. The Duracross washer, anti-twist fin. And yeah, of course, I haven't fished a spinning reel in well over a decade, but for anyone who's listening, if you want me to get a Vanford as well as a STRADIC to see what this low inertia, quick response thing that Shimano's got going, I'm gonna need 1,000 likes on this video, and I'll get one of each, and maybe after that I'll go even higher, eventually going up to the Stella to see what the fuss is about with the Stella. But yeah, the new Vanford from Shimano, very important reel, and let me show you why. If you go to Tackle Warehouse's bestsellers page, you go to the best-selling reels, you'll see that the Vanford is on this page, and every time I check, the Vanford is on this page, and that is quite a feat considering the Vanford starts off at $250, and you know, here in America we don't like to spend a lot of money on reels. I mean, every other spinning reel is a clearance reel, while the Vanford has probably been on this bestsellers page ever since it came out. So once again, give me 1,000 likes and I'll get a Vanford as well as a STRADIC, and we'll do a spinning reel comparison. So now let's get to the bait casters. So obviously we're back at Tackle Warehouse's Icast coverage page, and there's quite a few bait casters I want to show you guys. Now the first ones are going to be these new bait casters from Pflueger. Now about 10 years ago, Pflueger had a lot of offerings when it came to bait casters, but in the last few years they only had like 2. There were these cheap looking budget bait casters, but now they are coming back with some good looking bait casters, including this $99 President XT. Now of course at this price you're looking at the graphite frame and side plates, but there's no denying that's a slick looking reel. That's a good looking reel. Now back in the day, Pflueger was known for having this bright, almost turquoise blue reel. I think it was President XT at the time. It was like $250, but it was basically the Pflueger version of the REVO Premier, and it was a sleeper. A lot of people love that reel who are reel enthusiasts. But it looks like they are keeping with the budget theme, and then we have an even cheaper reel here, the regular President, that's got like this light blue two-tone color. I mean, look at that. That's a good looking reel. Look at this trim piece over the gearbox. Got this little opening. I wonder if that's on purpose. Look at these knobs, they're two-tone. So yeah, only 70 bucks. I mean, it's got to be the best looking $70 reel out there right now. And these are ready to ship 14 days after you place order, kind of like the Abu Garcias. But yeah, it looks like Pflueger is starting to get back into having a more robust baitcaster lineup, so that's cool. Okay, we already went over the mock bait finesse reel, and then we come to this, the Generation 3 LEWS Speed Spool. Now I have the first generation and the second generation. The first generation was just a mediocre reel. The second generation was actually a really good reel. Improved on the first generation in pretty much every way. And now we have the Generation 3, and they kept the price at $99, but unfortunately they ditched the aluminum frame and they are going with, where is it? I think it's a graphite frame. Yeah, actually I'm wrong. I thought it was a graphite frame. They are keeping the frame aluminum. That's my fault. Wow, I might have to try this one out then. It says one-piece ergonomic aluminum frame with graphite side plates. They kept the spool at 34 millimeter. I mean, this is LEWS bread and butter reel. It's got the P2 super pinion, so I'm definitely going to try this one out eventually. This reel does have significant marketplace presence, so I think it's LEWS best-selling reel. When are they? November 21st, so we got a ways to go. So my apologies to LEWS. I could have swore I saw that this had a graphite frame, but according to this, it's aluminum. Of course, Tackle Warehouse isn't always the most correct source of information, but either way, I think I'm going to try one out when they come out. All right, now the next one from LEWS is this, the LEWS Custom Pro Gen 3. It's orange. More orange. It's got an orange thumb bar. All right, so a few months ago, I did a video on a reel from Korea, and I forget the name of it already. It's like the Doyo Koba something. And that reel had I guess, Korea's first dynamic braking system. And I predicted that that was going to come over to America in the form of a LEWS, and here it is. So let's see here. Aluminum frame, of course, since this reel is $280. There it is, the new Paramag ITB inertia transfer braking system. 5.8 ounces, 11 bearings, typical LEWS. P2 pinion, 95 millimeter handle, typical LEWS. So yeah, that reel that I covered a few months ago that was a Doyo has come over to America in the form of this LEWS Custom Pro Gen 3. Now I personally would prefer to try to source one of those Doyo reels because it comes in better colors if I wanted to try out the new dynamic Paramag brake system. But if someone offered to send me one of these Custom Pro Gen 3 casting reels, I wouldn't turn it down. And the word is this is supposedly LEWS longest casting reel. Not sure how true that is since they have the BB1 Pro, but let's go down to this right here. KASTKING has come out with the second generation of iReel, and with this second generation they bumped the price up 50 bucks. Now I'm not sure how well the original iReel sold. I have not seen any kind of videos on it on YouTube, at least not made by KASTKING. But you can see the reel is chrome, just like the previous one, but they've introduced some blue coloring. And this reel is pretty much a consolidation of some of Shimano's older Antares DC reels. It's definitely Antares DC, like brake dial and this little insert, of course the chrome, the shape. And let's read some more about it. The next generation of bait casting technology, the iReel 2 smart casting reel, blah blah blah. Real-time fishing metrics. Frequency, blah blah blah. I mean, it's supposed to have a, I guess, second generation DC chip, but I don't see any new features versus the old reel. So I would love to try out the KASTKING iReel, but I am not paying $400 for one. If they have the guts to send me one, I'll definitely take it and give it a whirl. But I told you guys before, previous videos, there's only one company in China that makes all the Chinese DC reels. And that's DMK, and that's definitely where this KASTKING is coming from. Now, I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but yeah. I mean, here's the previous reel right here. Apparently it's still for sale. $349. Looks about the same. Well, the brake dial is a little different. But yeah, KASTKING iReel version 2.0. Now DAIWA, they have the new updated Coastal SV150 based off the new TATULA frame. Now this is an inshore reel due to the blue handle and blue spool. 100mm handle, so just an updated version of the previous Coastal. And not surprisingly, DAIWA bumped up the price to $279. I think the other one was like $249. Here it is right here. The entire reel was blue, but I think before it was on sale it was like $249. But obviously it says SV, so it's going to have the air brake, and of course I'm not a fan of the air brake because they don't cast very far compared to other reels. But yeah, DAIWA came out with a new Coastal SV 150. Right, so GARCIA has come out with a new Mike Iaconelli signature casting reel, and look at this thing. Can I blow it up? Now the previous Ike reel had like that purple blue rainbow effect color scheme. This one has a changing color scheme, but it's different. It's more of a brownish gold. You can see how the reel changes colors depending on how the light hits it. And yeah, it's gonna have the foam powerish knobs, and $149.95. So if I remember correctly, the original REVO Ike was like $250, so $100 cheaper. And here's why: instead of an aluminum frame, it's graphite with graphite side plates. And no other information, but I mean, it's a good looking reel. I just have no need for one. If I can find one on the cheap on eBay, maybe I'll get one just to check out that paint job in person. Okay, and I think the last reel is GARCIA again, and they are bringing back the REVO Premier. $299. Now this is the top of the line REVO before you get into the higher level Xenon. So this is the best REVO you can get. You can see they're using that asymmetrical frame. I wonder how many REVOs they're selling or not selling because of this asymmetrical frame. Leave me a comment in the comment section if you have a REVO, one of the newer REVOs. But let's check out what this new Premier is all about. 10+1 bearings, just like the old one. Alloy frame, just like the old one. EXD concept design. I wonder what that means. Does that mean that the line guide is pushed out all the way to the front? Here it is right here. I mean, there's still more space that could have been poked out. Maybe it's got special spool bearings. IVCB6 braking, that's the same. Carbon matrix. Now they did add a drag clicker. And just like the old reel, this is $300. Now, having covered Icast for the last 7 years, just watching different iterations of the REVO come and go, Abu Garcia needs to do something different, something fresh. Because all they do is take the same old technology from the old reel and just put it into a different frame and tell you that it's all new tech. So if a Swedish billionaire is somehow listening to this, buy back Abu Garcia and make them great again. But yeah, that is it for the reels that I found interesting that came out at this year's Icast. As I stated before, this year's Icast, just like last year's, was a little tame, especially when you compare it to, 2018 and 2019. But I guess that's to be expected. Now, one thing I am surprised at is that Shimano didn't come out with the new CURADO. Alright guys, be on the lookout for an unboxing of what appears to be China's best ever bait finesse reel. That's going to be the Haibo Arise Ultra Air. Thanks a lot.